people of us boys. Today we're gonna be reacting to Tuesday animation. This one's we have one. Okay. I was given a stolen gift animated story about the watch. Okay. Let's get to the video, boys. And let's.
And this is my sister, Emmy. And
Oh,
My name is Henry, and this is my sister, Emmy. And I want to share with you a very exciting story from my life. This happened on Emmy's birthday. On that day, she was extremely beautiful and thoughtful. While looking out of the window, Emmy was enjoying a beautiful view of the chestnut trees in blossom. Suddenly, the doorbell rang, interrupting her lighthearted state. However, Emmy was not surprised at all because there still were people who were supposed to congratulate her. After quickly opening the door, she saw some completely unfamiliar people at the doorstep. There were a policeman, some unknown man, a woman, and their daughter. Emmy had a long-standing dream, which my parents were not able to fulfill, as it seemed to me. She had been dreaming of getting a smart Apple Watch. I perfectly understood that our family couldn't afford this knick-knack. I have a wonderful school friend whose name is Arthur. We have a lot in common with him, except that Arthur is really tech-savvy and he knows everything about all sorts of gadgets.
Let's look at what he got in his room. A computer, a cat head. What is that in the garbage can? I have no idea. Some books, a potion, an Xbox, a controller, a golden basketball, another controller, a drone, 2 more Xboxes, 2 headphones, and a monster-looking thing in the corner.
Which is not the case with me.
Where you got just teacups, and a Batman phone, and a question mark on it, and pictures of
Arthur
Superman.
perfectly knew how important it was for me to present this wonderful gift to my sister. Every day, my parents gave small amounts of money to me and my sister for personal use. To be honest, saving up money turned out to be a very difficult task. I had no idea how much exactly this watch cost. Of course, I had no choice but to turn to Arthur to get the answer to this question. Arthur did not tell me all the details of buying a watch. He just said, "Man, lay it on me, give me money and I will buy a gift myself. On her birthday, Emmy will have the coolest watch on her hand." Emmy did not know.
Why is she laying with a creeper? She's trying to hook up with some creepers?
Anything about the surprise that I was preparing for her. It was a great pleasure for me to imagine the happy face of my sister. I must confess that I was even a little proud of myself.
That does not look like a happy face. That looks like a scared face. That's screaming. And that's just a creepy private holding on to the face.
I imagined how she would jump for joy. I knew that she would ask me a lot of questions like, "Where has this watch come from? Where did you get it? Have you stolen it?" While I was imagining all this, there was a broad smile on my face. Let's get back to my sister's birthday. Emmy invited the strangers and a policeman to our house. None of us really understood who these people were and what was going on at all. But soon the puzzle began to take shape. A few hours before the unexpected guests arrived, I solemnly handed a present to my beloved Emmy. She was as happy as I had expected. She also started screaming and jumping with joy. But of course, it was not without questioning. I told my sister how long I had been saving up the money given by my parents and how, at times, I wanted to buy something tasty for myself with the money that I was saving. Her eyes were filled with tears of joy and she hugged me really tight. The policeman was the first to talk and he said, "We found this house by GPS coordinates which are tracked via this girl's watch, which was stolen yesterday. And then he pointed a finger at the owner of the watch, who was hiding behind her mother in a shy and frightened manner. "Take your documents together with the watch and come with us," added the policeman. "But this is some kind of misunderstanding. I bought this watch with my own money. My best friend Arthur helped me to purchase it because I am not very tech savvy," I replied. "Where is your friend now? Can you bring us to him?" asked the girl's father. "Yeah, sure," I answered, and we went to Arthur's house. I was as red as a tomato because of such embarrassment. I was ashamed to look up, although I did not quite understand what was going on. After opening the door, Arthur, unlike me, turned pale. His parents also came up to the door right away. They were totally confused by what was happening. However, Arthur was the one who perfectly understood what was going on, and that's why he immediately slipped through the door and successfully ran away from the policeman and girl's parents rushing out into the street. Arthur was running as fast as possible across the courtyards of our neighborhood, knocking down passers-by and garbage containers, turning over the tables that stood on the street near the coffee shops, and creating chaos as well as obstacles for the police while hoping that no one would be able to catch up with him. Apparently, Arthur was watching thrillers way too often. He could be running for a long time like Forrest Gump, but the situation was treacherously turning against him. The police had an excellent experience in chasing criminals, so it was a usual thing for them to catch my friend, which was not the case with Arthur. For him, it was something new. Using his walkie-talkie, the policeman called his colleagues asking for help, and they arrived quickly in the police cars with flashing lights. They went to meet Arthur while blocking his way, arranging a trap, and making a stir with their loudspeakers. There was nowhere to go, so Arthur realized that this was a dead end and there was no point in running away anymore. My friend was forced to give up. Police officers brought Arthur home after successfully catching him. There, his parents were also waiting for him to carry out an interrogation. At that moment, Arthur thought it was better to give himself up to the police than explain everything to his parents, as it was embarrassing. "Arthur, tell us where you got the watch," I cried out in anger. My friend's parents looked at each other in surprise and stared at their son. The formidable look of the policeman made Arthur uneasy. He had no choice but to tell everything, so he started his honest confession. He said that he knew how important it was for me to make a present to my beloved sister, so he understood that the money that I had saved would not be enough even for a strap from such a watch. Arthur noticed that a girl who attended track and field trainings together with him was wearing the same treasured watch on her hand. He said that he had followed the girl and waited until she took off her watch and put it in the locker room so that he would be able to commit a planned crime being left unnoticed. Unfortunately, Arthur did not consider possible consequences of his crime. The police resolved the matter on the spot. The watch was returned to the owner, and parents had no complaints concerning Arthur because he sincerely repented of his deed. They treated him with understanding because he was exactly the same age as their daughter. Everything could have...
Wait a minute. What were those shoes from? Arthur's shoes. Like, where did that came from? Like, did you got it from a hillbilly? How big is its feet?
Ended much worse if the girl's parents had filed a police report about the missing watch. For Arthur, this was a serious life lesson. He admitted that he was very ashamed of his first and hopefully last wrongful act in his life.
Like this video.
I was trudging home without noticing anything around. It seemed that nothing could make me feel as happy as I was in the morning.
I'm going to tell you guys something. Like and subscribe to Meet My Stories and hit the like button to their videos and do the same thing to my channel. Just support this channel.
Well, the situation was really ridiculous, you know. Not only was the watch stolen, but also my sister was left without a gift. I was terribly embarrassed by all this. But to my great surprise, when I returned home, Emmy opened the door for me and the watch was glittering on her hand. It was the same watch that had been recently seized by the police and handed over to the rightful owner. And then I began to think that someone was filming me with a hidden camera and this was all just some kind of prank which I would then be shown on TV. Looking around, I didn't notice any cameras. But as it turned out, everything was much simpler. Parents still gave the long-awaited gift to Emmy just before I came back home. They also knew about her dream. Emmy was not left without a present, and this was the first piece of good news in the last few hours. A few days later, Arthur came to make peace with me. He brought me a cake, returned the money, and offered to take a walk along the alleys. I hardly agreed because I was very angry and disappointed with his behavior, so I made the condition for Arthur, saying that we would bring this cake to the girl whose watch was stolen. I also made Arthur apologize to her. He reluctantly agreed to my terms. The girl's name was Greta. Seeing us at the door, Greta was not surprised at all. It was actually quite the opposite. She joyfully invited us into the house. While we were drinking tea, Greta accidentally mentioned that she had known Arthur for a long time and they were getting along with each other well. I did not understand what this meant. A few days ago, Arthur stole her watch, and today, it turned out that they were good friends. Having exchanged looks, Arthur nodded approvingly to Greta, making it clear that she could trust me. So they told me the real truth. When I asked Arthur to purchase a watch, he suggested Greta to buy her gadget for a low price, and she was supposed to tell her parents that she had lost it. Greta didn't expect parents to go to the police and cause a stir. I had only one question for Arthur. Why didn't you confess to the police officer, Arthur? They could have arrested you. Arthur said that a real man would never frame a girl, so he took all the blame on himself. What's more, he knew that Greta's parents are very strict and she would have huge problems at home. Of course, I did not expect such a turn of events, but the most important thing is that it was all over and Arthur promised that he would never commit any frauds again. And I will continue to rely on myself, or I will turn to my parents for help. They definitely won't come up with such schemes. Fortunately, our story had a happy ending. Guys, before you do something without thinking properly in advance, do not forget about the consequences. They can be totally unpredictable. Have you or your friends found yourselves in such extreme situations? Click on the thumbs up button, share your stories in the comments, and subscribe to our channel. It is very important for us to find out what you think about my friend's act and what lesson you have learned from my story.
Okay, guys. Like this video and give this video a big thumbs up. And comment down below, but maybe not. I don't know. YouTube might take a comment section like I did to my other videos.